Today is August 20th, and we talk to Boone, and we talk about the Yanks. Hey-o! Happy birthday to my dear wife.
Talking Yanks with old John Boy and Jake. Recaps galore, weekly awards, stat lines, steaming hot takes. Get your Yankees news from these two fine dudes. It's time for Talking Yanks. Talking Yanks with old John Boy and Jake.
You know what?
Talking Yanks with old John Boy and Jake.
Hello and welcome to Talkin' Yanks, which is brought to you by SeatGeek, where you can use code YANKS15 and get 15% off any tickets. Yanks are in a division race. Stadium has been going crazy all season, averaging like 40K fans. I don't know if that's true. I think it's true. They've been losing at home, so we need even more fans and more help. Use code YANKS15 for 15% off. SeatGeek app, SeatGeek website. Go get your tickets. It's nice. My name's Jimmy. His name's Jake. BBD's behind the dish. We're both wearing blue and hats. And when I watched the episode of you and Joe's, I was in the comments, in the live chat, and I said, we should get uniforms for the back half of the season. And I kind of want us to get weird uniforms.
Okay.
So that's something I've been thinking about. Like, it could just be the t-shirt that says Talking Yanks on it, but we match. Something about when the hosts match makes you go like, what's this? I ought to watch.
James Davis. Yeah, I think there's some
Preseason,
bad
we said we'd
connotations
do some
too.
outfits.
I'd love some playoff outfits. Like I don't know. It was a Jim. I know you're an anti-August guy, and I hate to bring that to the airwaves, but this morning, 63 outside.
Well, that's what I was telling you
This
last
has been the
ep.
best August ever. So I kind of need you to.
I was telling you this last ep that we're getting a nice Tuesday, and then after this, it's going back to late 80s, which is bullshit.
Right, but if you're going to be an August hater, this might be the best August you ever get. I think you
Today.
should spring eternal this August.
Today's nice.
Right, but some August we don't get days like today. I'm open to something, maybe playoff fits. I'd like that. I was daydreaming about the mock turtleneck this morning and how just iconic that is. And like if the Yankees showed up game one of the playoffs this year and everyone had a mock turtleneck on, it'd be like the most testosterone my body could produce.
Yeah, I hate turtlenecks, though. I'd have to get over that.
It's tough.
I haven't worn one since I was a little kid.
Yeah, you got to stretch them out.
You got to try something every 8 years before you let it go again. So I'll try.
And maybe your mom
mock.
was just pissed at you and gave you like a tight turtleneck.
No,
just
I went
for
to
like
Catholic.
a light
I went to
choking.
Catholic school, and you had to wear a turtleneck in the winter, and it was like that big one, you know. That big one.
Choked by religion.
Like I had like a bad neck or something like that. And we were trying to hide it from the people. Anyway, we talked to Boone today.
Yes.
Boone and I got into it. Maybe the most him and I have gotten into it on a certain conversation. He told me to stop at one point. I said, I'll tell you to stop.
That was nice.
At least this
Tell me
year.
to stop.
It's a nice moment. And yeah, I know.
Yeah, at least this year.
I know, Jimmy.
I think ever. That was the most I was like, oh shit.
You're an itinerary guy. Not to reveal how all the sausage is made, but we figured with what's going on in the bullpen and a couple other things, we thought this would be a hotter episode. So we kind of let in with Jazz because want some real news there, but he was also the king of the world. And then we started leaning into it.
Clay, Volpe, Peraza, Dominguez.
Compete. That's all I want.
And you know the trivia's in there.
Compete.
Trivia's in there. I wasn't listening to the trivia at all, little teaser, because I was trying to fucking remember. I had a thought. I was like, I want to say this, and then I forgot it.
Found it, though.
I did find
It's
it.
a good feeling.
I did. It was a great feeling. I was going to be really disappointed if I never
frame?
found it. That's a spoiler. I do find it.
And without spoiling it for later, it's one you'd been saying for like a couple days around here. Like I knew you wanted to get that out once you said it.
Because it's a stat that they might say is like, well, look at this. And I'm like, well,
we might as well get into it. We got Sharp Cats with Katie Sharp, the queen of stats, coming up. Let's get into Boone. And it's a reminder, every Tuesday we do our DraftKings DFS League Daily Fantasy. I think we had a record high 130 people in there last week. I think BBD was the high finisher. Not in the money, but
among people in our office. We have our own leaderboard internally.
But go check it out. Daily Fantasy, you put together a lineup, you end up in the top 20, you win. We also give away $100 in SeatGeek credit. from John Boy Media, and the top 2 finishers by the end of the season get 2 World Series tickets. So go check it out. DraftKings, John Boy Media DFS League. There's a link in the description. Banter
with Boone. Hello and welcome. We got another Bantering with Boone brought to you by Beatbox. We're in navy blue. Boone, you have heather blue, heather gray on. I'm bad at colors sometimes, but we look uniform. It's nice. How you doing?
Perry. I'm doing all right. Good to see you guys.
How's the Williamsport come down? I know we just talked for a second, but it's a lot. It's intense. It's exciting. It's not routine, which guys kind of always hate, but the spirit of it is, Little League baseball. That's can't be beat.
No doubt. It was a long day. It was a grind, and obviously it didn't end well for us. But, getting to play at that venue was really neat. Getting to see, the Little League World Series is such this magical, mythical place to a lot of people, myself included. Like, that's when I was a kid, I wanted to go play in the Little League World Series. Never got to do it. A lot of our players had that same sentiment. You watch this game on TV all your life, then to go and see it and experience it and get to interact with some of the kids, I know was meaningful to our guys.
Jazz Chisholm adopted a little brother, so that's something. What's I guess all his stuff has been awesome. Like, we've been blown away. Like, from what we've heard from around the league to now seeing Jazz day in, day out, it's been electric. More importantly to us, he said he's coming back after the 10 days. Is that have the Yankees signed off on that, or is that Doc Jazz?
Yeah, that might be a little ambitious.
Okay.
The good news is he's feeling like that's a possibility. So I know he went in on the off day yesterday and swung a bat for the first time. I think 50-70%, got off the tee a little bit. So we'll see how he responds from that today. Again, the strength, range of motion, those kind of things have all been good, which is encouraging. And he's feeling like, I want to play. So that's encouraging too. The thing we've got to deal with is make sure, we're not putting him in a bad situation, he does have an injury there, but we got to make sure he's stable. And, so that's what these next, days are in kind of, as you ramp him up, how does he respond, and keep evaluating him. But, he seems to be doing well, which is good.
What is the injury? I know it's just UCL injury, but is it tear,
just a
stretch, or sprain?
Sprain of that in the forearm. So, he's got to be in a situation where he can protect himself. And obviously, being that he's a left-handed hitter and a right-handed thrower, obviously, the fact that it's, essentially his top hand is best case. I mean, that's what you'd want it to be as a left-handed hitter and as a right-handed thrower. So that's encouraging. But again, now we'll see as he starts to introduce baseball activities, what he's able to do, how he responds from that. How is he today after swinging a bat yesterday? Those will be big indicators as to determine the next steps.
I have a question that's not necessarily trying to point fingers at you guys at all. I don't want you to take it that way. Just this injury and then the Rizzo one and when Soto slid piqued my curiosity of, like, in spring training, is there like sliding injury prevention at all? I ask it and I kind of asking like a joke, but I think it could be a serious thing. Like in football, you're taught how to tackle healthy, but like
Rizzo fell.
Yeah, he collided and went down. That's an oddball, but Soto had a similar one where he kind of landed on his hand in that same way when he was going home.
Yeah.
And then Glaber and Jazz both have done the hook slide.
I don't know if we so much practice those things as you do talk about those things. Now, the way Soto did is the right way to do it. You don't want to go head first into a catcher necessarily. Yeah. So a lot of times, and because everyone's a little bit protected now, more so certainly than when I played, that slide around reach is is there's always risk involved, but it's a fairly common, safe slide that guys use. Now, Jazz went straight into the catcher, and that's the one we want to kind of advise against a little bit.
Yeah. Well, Glaber before you came in 2017, Glaber, same thing. Yeah. And also non-throwing arm, Tommy John. So is surgery, I know you can't, off the table, revisited because it's not, if it was his throwing arm, would it be a different area? Like, is that looming pretty large here in a good way?
I would never say it's off the table. You don't, because we haven't gotten to the point of he's playing and what does it look like. And so you never want to say that. I would say the signs look good that he's going to be playing and should be okay. But we're not really going to know that until, it gets to that point.
Is there any scheduled tests, like the next step of, and how do you test non-throwing arm? Swinging? Mostly that's where it's going to be.
Yeah, it'll be responding to that. They do it every day. Like there's the, physical manual test where they test for these kind of things, and they know like the elasticity and the strength and range of motion, and you can measure all those things. So, but now it's responding to the ramp up of baseball activity. And what does that look like?
When you look at the bullpen, there's been, with Leiter getting hit a little bit, Canley's looked good. I believe he had one inning a couple weeks ago where he got mad, but he got taken out. But
Cousins finished off the save.
Yep. Yeah. Tonkin had a great stretch. He had a rough patch. Obviously, Clay is having a rough patch. I thought your answer last night after the game, or 2 nights ago, opened it up a little bit more, that you were looking into revisiting all options and not just holding pat. But I don't know, just any insight into the bullpen as a whole, the setup, the organization of the final innings?
Yeah, I feel like we still have the makings of a really good one, and there are some really good things happening down there. Feel like we've hit a little stretch there where, he wasn't as dominant as he was. I feel like his last couple have been really good again. Tommy, like you said, throwing the ball well. I would disagree. I know, look, I understand the Clay thing. I think Clay's throwing the ball really well. We probably got to get him into better spots. And, he's been hurt by some left-handed base hits. But this is very different than past years where he'll have that week or 2 week stretch where he kind of loses a little bit. He hasn't lost that. He's, I think, been very unfortunate. And the stuff is there. The command, for the most part, is there. It's that next level of elite execution, especially, in some spots where, game on the line with a lefty at bat. So I feel like we have the makings. We just got to put it together the right way moving forward here.
For Clay, I know bad luck is bad luck, and hopefully that changes. Is there anything to you've had my guy here. He's turned into a defensive analytics guy. He's been crunching numbers. And I don't know, I guess on my end, the logic of it, Clay's been banging that slider more, and that's kind of this more swing and miss pitch. But the fastball, especially to lefties, it feels like we've now seen an approach of going the other way with it. That, like, is there any mid-season revisiting, like, defensive positioning with Clay himself out there? Because I feel like that has to be measured differently than other pitchers.
Well, no, we always individualize it to the pitcher and the hitter, and you're trying to go to places where you're limiting as much as you can getting beat. Now, Clay's one guy as much as anyone that in a perfect world lends itself to that 5-man infield. A little harder to do now with personnel and whatever, but we're trying to cover up the holes where the ball has the best chance to go. So, and between Chappie and our defensive guys, we do a really good job of that. We've been beat, understandably, with Clay because he puts the ball on the ground, so more balls are going to get through than other guys. In that kind of 3-4 holes really hurt us, but just balls getting through, period.
Yeah, that's where I counter that. I don't know if it's bad luck, and I don't know if it's on Clay. Just kind of a bad combination. Besides Volpe, the infield doesn't grade out well this year, and the shifts have been not. You guys are middle of the pack in shifting, and you get beat, and sometimes you get stopped. The Red Sox are really good right now. The Rays are awful, so that's fun for us. And they shift 80% of the at-bats. So there you go. But that's where I'm kind of coming to the conclusion. Originally I would say about Clay, because he got a lot of comebackers, but he's not great at fielding his own position. I'm like, that's a tough combination. But now it's expanded with the corners being not great defensively this year. And second base, we grade out the worst in the league. So like ground balls aren't the best recipe for the team. So to have those happening in those moments, it just seems like we're doomed for what you and baseball might consider bad luck.
All right. Yeah, I wouldn't say bad luck, more unfortunate. My point is he's been very consistent all year with what his stuff is, the contact he's generating, and, we got to help turn some more balls into outs, but, we're not a perfect team, okay? But we have the ability to beat anyone, and we got to try our best to do that and put ourselves in the best situations to do that. I
agree. I think that every team that is of the Yankees caliber has similar holes. So it's a pretty even field. That's why it's a nice you don't get the luxury of trying things out because you got the division locked up or you got the wild card locked up, because you're in a division race. But you want to be able to test and make any changes now before you get to the postseason. All of a sudden you're up against it and you got to do stuff now. So is that a tough balance as manager of in a race?
What changes are you talking about? Changing how we shift for Clay?
No, in general. I mean,
I know where we get beat on Clay, and we're trying to cover those things up.
I thought it was something you guys didn't do well in 2022. All of a sudden, we had 3 shortstops starting in the ALCS when you could have ran multiple shortstops out in September to get people a little prep for that or find better footing there. So any situation that you run into the postseason where all of a sudden you got to. My question is, if you had the luxury to do that, I think you would take it. But it's a tough balance now, being in a division race, hunting wins, wanting to put your best foot forward, also wanting to test some things out.
Yeah. And, hopefully we're getting Jazz back, who's still new to third base. But, you want to move him late in the game when all signs are indicating that he's going to be pretty dynamic over there.
Yeah, but he's really good at second, and you get a better infielder at third, and then you get rid of some of the weaknesses.
How's better at second? He hasn't really played there much at all.
Anyone's going to grade out better right now than Gleyber at second. I mean, don't make me say that, but that's that gets better if you put him over there.
Although when we're talking about covering up holes in the infield, Gleyber's range has not been an issue this year.
No, it's not. It's his range, especially up the middle, has been really good this year. And his turn and throw has been very impressive. I agree with that.
Yeah. So, I mean, we got to finish off and complete the routine. That's the biggest thing.
I guess, and it's something that Yankee fans talk about, and there's also the sports side of it that is one of the juggles of baseball, because it's not a meathead sport. It's not hit the bag harder this time or whatever it is, but there's ebbs and flows to it. But I guess whether it's the bullpen or even talking about some of the infield spots, that I guess like competition level, like, I don't know, I'm kind of like a competition leads to good things. And whether we're talking about the back end of the bullpen or we're talking about some of the guys on the left side of the infield, and we don't have to run through the Volpe stuff. There's some splits right now that he's been in a funk, and I get that. But it's also like Peraza's going to be on the team probably until Chisholm's back, and we'll see. And there's a lot of lefties that should breed some competition. Oswaldo has been playing really well lately. And like, I don't know. It just feels like I think that's one of Yankee fans.
Right now, Oswaldo is playing, with Jazz down. He's playing against righties.
Right. Yeah. I guess it's just it's a kind of a Yankee fan gripe right now that the back end of the bullpen or even when Volpe's kind of going through it right now, like it should be viewed as not like open competition, swords out, whoever has the better game you play tomorrow, but a little bit of like, hey, you know, this guy's playing well. We've got Peraza for a week or two. We got a bunch of lefties. What it feels like things should be open to being a little more fluid on the back end and the left side of the infield.
All right. Okay.
Okay.
Peraza will get some reps before Jazz comes back up, like against lefties. You had said that earlier that, you know, Peraza will
Peraza's in there tonight.
And that'll be at third base.
Yep.
Because we talked about maybe giving Volpe a spell, a rest, and then you said you were considering it, but then Jazz got hurt. So
I consider it when he took the ball off the foot, but he's through that now. So and you know, I the last 10 days or so, you know, he's kind of been in that little bit of offensive funk that I feel like, you know, hopefully we look up in a couple of weeks and he's back in that groove where he was taken off again after he struggled there, you know, starting in June and July a little bit. You know, I feel like he'll get there.
What's there on Volpe? Because it's been, that's where I'm getting, he's great defensively. So that allows, you don't need him to be a juggernaut offensively.
Great
but he's been,
most important spot.
I know, I agree. But if you roll his plate appearances by 50, you know, it never looks good. He had a good week, but it's, you know, the on base hasn't been over 300. And so it just feels like it's odd with Volpe because you guys dug in real quickly last year to start saying, no, he's here all year, no matter what, where you see other rookies come up like Jackson Holiday or even Judge in 16 where they, you know, go figure out what they need to work on and then go to like the shallow end where it's safer and work on it. The reminders. But he's just been in the deep end, but we haven't seen any change. And you guys,
he hasn't failed like guys you're talking about. He's still, come on, man. This guy's a player. This guy's like, you're like, yeah, the defense is great. We acknowledge that. Like, that's enormous. He's the best shortstop in the league. Like, that's enormous at that position.
Defensively, yeah.
He's hitting like a league average or below league average hitter. Like,
well below, yeah.
Add it all up, he's a winning player. Like, stop it.
Well, I mean, I can say stop it back if I want. I disagree. I disagree with you.
He's 22 years old. Like,
I know.
What
so
if he goes out and has 2 good offensive weeks and he's a 720 OPS and the best defender in the league? You got yourself a pretty damn good player right there.
Yeah,
he's get to there offensively. He's going to get there. It's not linear. It's not just shoot to the moon like he has defensively.
Yeah, yes, but last year you guys said he's not taking him out, and you ran him the whole year, and then he had a bad end of the year, and we were told he got run to the ground and he was tired. That was what you said. He never played that much. Here he is on a terrible last 50 game stretch with a 332 OPS. At plate appearances, not games. But you roll it to 100, 150, 200. I mean, last 200 plate appearance, 241 on base, 582 OPS. Like you were just running him out there again. It seems like we're kind of setting ourselves up.
There's definitely a case in there where I could have given him a day here and there. Absolutely. But to just have him not in the lineup. Next question. Seriously, when you run the team, you can make that call.
Okay.
Let's go to the Dominguez conversation. 27th man. So I believe it has to be a position player on the 40 man. So it's going to be him or Vivas.
Oh, it had to be a position player?
It doesn't have to be position player to be 27th man, but if you're doing a position player, which they did, those were the 2 on the 40 man.
It had to be for this.
Okay. Oh, it had to be. Interesting.
Yeah, for this.
Oh, for this game.
Yeah, it did. So Dominguez gets the call. You know, the Yanks, we've talked about the struggles versus lefties. He's a switch hitter. Plug and play him. And I guess, I don't know, for me, that was a little, just feels a little off. I get it, and we saw this with Andujar a couple years ago. Like, hey, you get a 27th man, Andujar can hit. Let's plop him in the lineup. We'll see you next time we need you. Was that the thought process for Dominguez? Because again, we've got a week coming up with 5 out of 6 lefties. So seeing a guy bat 5th in the lineup, it's like, well, maybe he could be an asset. But obviously, there's rosters stuff involved there. So what was your guys' thought process?
Yeah, it was just we haven't had a 27th man. There wasn't a natural fit. It's like we're going up against the best lefty in the game right now. Let's get another right-handed bat there and get him up here for a day. Even though for Jason, I mean, that's a tough draw for everyone, but
yes.
A tough one for him too. And his better side's his left-handed side too. But, we're just – it was a way of getting another righty bat when we had that in our pocket and he's 2 hours away. So it felt like, hey, maybe we get you a little lightning here in a day. He's on our team. He's on our roster. And, let's go. And we may see him soon anyway. So I don't know. It's an easy call for me, frankly.
Does it also, I know you love the double off day, get Verdugo off his feet for 2 days?
Yeah. Did like the double off day there for Doogie against tough lefty. So yeah.
How about Verdugo and the allergies to batting gloves? It sounds silly, but then it is pretty serious that he's been going through that without knowing what was causing it for 3 years. Did you know that he was even, going through blisters and hand stuff?
No, I didn't until, recently when we all learned of it. I was not aware of that actually.
Pretty bizarre. And then the article said that Dominguez also has the same allergy, but wears different gloves, I guess. I'm not sure. He doesn't have tattoos?
I don't know.
So just pure baseball guy in you. Like what are the conversations with, whether it's with our guy, Backyard Brad Ausmus, whether it's with whoever, that you're just like, wait, he's allergic to his batting gloves? Like how, it's a crazy thing to read.
Yeah, we haven't gotten that into it with Backyard Brad, and I haven't gotten that much into
it. That's another Brad's nickname.
Brad Miller one day showed up in Plouf's backyard, just like hanging out in L.A., so he started calling him Backyard Brad. So that one slipped on me.
It's like that's different. That's not.
But we can make it work.
I might call him that today, Backyard Brad.
Let's go. What else you got, Jimmer?
Stroman looked really good since his changes mechanically. And you said it, and I think everyone that watched saw he looked, I thought, really sharp in that game in Williamsport.
Yeah.
Is it the sinker having more movement? Was there a release point change? I was looking at some of the release point data. It looked like he changed it a little, but not a ton.
I think for him, the adjustment, was lower half. At least in his mind, just getting more engaged. He was trying to create stuff, I think, with his upper body and his arm, and that, took away a little bit of his command and just was. So I think for him and his bullpens, he's able to have a couple bullpens when we pushed him back. I think he realized, I need to get into my legs here more. And that's where everything starts from and gets created. And it seems like he's done a better job with that. I feel like his first outing back after the 10 days was good. I thought yesterday or the other day was excellent.
Trevino will look great behind the dish for him and for Cole. Trevino and Cole actually, I thought it was like, ooh, this is why they work well together, because Cole can live on the edges and Trevi can just wrap him up nicely in the strike zone for him. A lot of the fan base was confused because Wells is a starter. I'm not confused here. I know Wells has struggled against lefties and Trevino can hit lefties. And you had a really good lefty pitcher. But moving forward, what will that dynamic be? Will it be a platoon?
Yeah, probably more especially because obviously typically you get more right-handed hitters, although this week we're going through a stretch of lefties. Probably be kind of in line with the platoon, especially that's kind of my lean right now. Even though I do feel like Wells will hold his own against left-handed pitchers over time too. You look at his at bats. He's not overwhelmed by him by any means. I think he controls his zone pretty well against them.
Yeah, his on base is still really good. It's like 343 against lefties.
Yeah, so I'm not worried necessarily about that. It's more like, okay, I got another frontline catcher over here in Trevi that should handle left-handed pitching pretty well too. So it's kind of, to me, that's kind of a natural split line, and then like I had in the Williamsport game, we're in later in the game, righty comes in, I'll probably be pretty aggressive with getting Wells in there.
That makes sense. I understand that. I think a lot of the fans that don't look deeper are going to see that last series and then the upcoming stretch with all the lefties and be like, what the hell? I thought Wells was the starter, and not understand. But so I wanted to ask you to get it out there.
What voice was that?
That was all the fans combined, whole stadium of them.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, it's been exciting what Austin's turning into.
Yeah, his numbers since his first home run are some of the best of any catcher or anything. But I was surprised. I thought he had hit lefties, and
he will.
I agree. The analytic, the expected are there. The on base is there.
Yeah.
You do have an upcoming one that's tricky. Maybe you haven't thought it through because you have so many lefties coming up, and then Cole is scheduled to start against a righty. So that's I can wait and see if you want to leave me in anticipation. But
we'll see.
That's a conundrum.
Eric worked with a lot of people over the last couple of years and done it pretty well, so we should be all right.
It's true.
Work for it.
I had another one that I'm blanking on now, but maybe that's fine.
I'm going to cast a ballot for one Peraza game at short this week. Doesn't have to be any time. That's just it. Maybe an Oswald left side one day. That'll be my ask. Again, if you can't ask, you can't receive in this world.
That's fair.
What the hell was my other question?
What was your other cue?
I don't know.
Was it the beatbox trivia?
No, you do that while I rack my brain.
Jim's going to rack his brain while we hit the beatbox trivia booney. Beatbox, the perfect pairing for a Yanks game. Do yourself a favor. Hit the link in the description. Find beatbox near you. We're playing the Guard Dogs right now, tonight, this week. We've seen them. You've seen them twice in the playoffs since becoming the manager of the New York Yankees. Only 4 starting pitchers have taken the mound for the Yankees against the Guard Dogs. Can you name those 4 starting pitchers?
Wow. Cole.
Sure, 3 times. Nestor twice. They're the 2 multi-starters. Now the other 2 only started once. Tanaka is one of them.
Rain Day.
The Rain Day, yeah.
And then this other guy started in both series, you're saying?
No, I don't think they had to start in both series.
Tyone?
Good guess. This guy just had a really good start across town recently.
Oh,
Sevy. It was Cole 3 times, Nestor twice, Tanaka once, and Sevy once. Good squad there. So that was the beatbox trivia. Jim, did you find your final cue?
Yes, it was about lefty starters. Do you know that you guys lead the league in on base percentage versus lefty starters?
Ooh.
But I think it's because they just walk the good guys. They just walk Soto and Judge, and that's the strategy, which has to be eventually.
Walking Wells.
Roosters come to Noost. That's not the saying, but you get what I'm saying. That'll be the new saying.
Yeah.
Eventually, keep getting guys on base. You get some cleanup hitters and some guys.
Turn it around, baby.
Jazz will play versus lefties, right? He's not a platoon guy because he's done well against lefties.
Yeah, he'll play against lefties.
Okay. Nice.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, Booney.
Peace.
See ya.
See, Skip.
That was Bantering with Boone. This is the Bantering with Boone postgame brought to you by Roan, where you can use code YANKS and get 20% off.
Wow.
Do you find it hard to find comfortable things to wear?
Yes.
Uncomfortable, tight, never your size. You know what I did? I went to Target for Katie's birthday, and I bought her, like, just grabbed tons of shit off the shelves.
Sure.
I got her actual presents. I thought this was kind of fun.
No, Jimmy,
I
should say
filled
this.
I filled a box.
Right.
And I was like, here, it's like I'm a subscription box. Just try them all on.
You let Katie pick her 3 favorite things, and then you go back to Target, you return the rest.
She's returning all of them. Me and James went. Most of them because James chose too bright of colors.
Right.
But I was like, she doesn't have time to go try things on at the store. Just buy a bunch of size, try them on, go back, and if you like them. I would like that. That's how my mom used to shop for me, so didn't pan out. Roan makes it even easier than that. They have products for every occasion. Talk about the world's most comfortable pants, dress shirts, quarter zips, polos, and blazers. Maybe blazers for the postseason? Nah. Maybe for postseason losses and postseason wins, we get to be comfortable.
Interesting.
The commuter collection can get you through any workday and straight into whatever comes next. Head to roan.com/Yanks and use promo code Yanks to save 20% off your entire order. That's 20% off your entire order when you head to roan.com/Yanks and use code Yanks. It's time to find your corner office comfort. So Boone didn't like that in the middle. In the middle there, he didn't enjoy it.
I'd hate to quote Joe's McFly. Boone hated that.
Yeah. It is funny. The comments always read into it way more than, like you always read, like, Boone hates these guys, or Boone, why does Boone keep showing up? And yeah, he hated that one for sure. Like the look on his face when I was going through the defensive metrics, he was not excited or happy about that. But in the end, he doesn't give a shit. Like we sign off and we're laughing and happy. I think he enjoys having conversations. He just doesn't want to be told his team's bad.
Yeah, and
they're not bad.
You know, I think at this point they feel like Clay Holmes is the most talented arm in their bullpen. So why bother make a thing out of it? They think Anthony Volpe is their most talented shortstop, so why make a thing out of it? And it just, I mean, for me, and the thing I've been spinning through the past couple days is like, well, you made the thing out of it. Like, if we never made the thing out of it, you can still get to the best result. And like, it's why I tried to bring up competition, because I think that's what breeds it. Like if Peraza goes 2 for 4 at shortstop one night and Volpe's on the bench, I don't know, man. That's like when you find out. That's when you want to be out there and you want to make sure you're contributing and doing everything. And Booney, I was happy he did crack a smile during there's a little bit of a pool reference there, the shallow end and the deep end. Mm-hmm. And he cracked a smile. It was because he was ready to retort back with like, well, Volpe's the best defensive shortstop in the game. And maybe he is, but
no, he's the second best in the AL.
We were told Peraza
was
a more talented shortstop. So like, again, you should be the Yankees and doing the best thing for the teams to win. And Volpe probably wouldn't be our full ire if we were getting more contributions from first base, second base, also, third base, left field.
I'm not saying get rid of him.
Right.
I'm saying give the kid a break. Let some other guys get some playing time.
The idea behind like why this conversation happened this time is because last week he told us thinking about getting him a day.
But even like that's so dramatic by them. Like it doesn't have to be like that.
Who's got there's a tweet, someone tagged me and I'm see if I can find it. It was a picture of Clay Holmes's batting averages on ground balls over the years. Have you guys seen these numbers at all?
I've seen
some of these numbers.
Okay, here it is. Hey, John Boy, thoughts on this? Clay Holmes batting average against his sinker. This is from Ian Downey.
So this is against the pitch specifically?
Yeah, 2021, 208 batting average against. 2022, 198 batting average against. Good. Shift eliminated. 2023, 256 batting average against.
Little bump.
2024, 348 batting average against. So it could be shift related, but also I want to look at, and I'm going to look at outs above average because they have like infielders coming in on balls as well as just infield defensive metrics. Because I think, the defense is just worse also than before. But I don't know.
Yeah. For me, I think it's turned into
DJ and Donaldson were awesome at third
great
base
at third.
in 2022.
But the Yankees still great at third, and their shortstop play has gotten better. For me, I think it's just become pure approach. I think teams know Clay Holmes isn't going to bang his slider every pitch, so I think they sit fastball. And if you're the lefties, and it's kind of what we talked about, the Yankees aren't going to change their positioning. They play lefties to pull, even though Clay throws a 98 sinker that runs away. And that's where we saw both hits last game. And we've seen multiple lefties do that. If I was the other team, okay, how about this, Jim? We have a baseball team. We're playing the Yankees.
What's their name?
We're put Froggerton.
Okay. Frogs.
Froggerton Frogs. So Clay Holmes comes out for the 9th inning.
Do it with the puppet.
Here come our guys. What would your approach be against Clay Holmes? Here come your lefties.
Yeah. It would be put the ball in play, which is not.
I'd say look for the sinker and drive it the other way.
But it's all that is not the approach versus closers. Did I talk about this last episode? I've been talking about this. Yeah, usually it's drive a pitch because we're not gonna string 5 together. Let's get some runs. But with Clay's and Boone's right, he hasn't been walking that many people recently at all. But his ability to walk you and your ability to get on base via hit, teams are saying one at a time, which is not usually what you see versus closer. Usually that's why closers have so many strikeouts and pop-ups because guys are all swinging big.
Well, yeah, and then it turns into the runners on base. Clay's not about holding runners. / he's a massive body, so I don't want to hold him on that. But our catchers, also, we've done the throwing out runners this year. So, like, when that... How about this? I didn't know Clay was going to blow that save. When a runner got on, I did think Clay was going to blow that save.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
So I agree.
I don't know, man. And yeah, again, just to like lock their heels in. Like, what if Luke Weaver closed out games for a week and was an electrician? Wouldn't that feel nice? And like the Orioles, they just demoted Craig Kimbrell, Hall of Fame closer. And now Sir Anthony's closing games for them. So
he just blew one.
I don't know. Yeah, I mean, their bullpen's not like a great thing right now, but they're trying stuff.
Electric. 2 games yesterday. Astros and Orioles.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah.
I should say Astros and Mets.
Yeah.
I should.
Mets are the ones that won.
I'm going to look up something interesting that I don't know if this will result to anything. You know how Baseball Savant...
Yeah.
I know we got to... You know Baseball Savant offers... bat speed and swing length now.
Yep.
I'm going to see if... I'm just going to compare them to Weaver, where I think they swing bigger against Weaver's pitches. If there's any difference in the average bat speed and swing length. I don't know if on average for the two this year, if that's even going to be...
Yeah, that feels like a tough one, but let's see.
Yeah, it's so... I don't know why it...
Yeah,
toggled competitive swings only. I'm going to toggle that off because I want all swings.
Give me the
that can be like the lanes they like on Weaver.
Give me the sad swings.
Bat speed faster versus Clay by 2 miles per hour on average. Swing length longer.
Okay.
So opposite.
Look at that.
But I said before, I don't think that's a great... I think you'd have to really learn more about those stats.
The swing length against Clay is longer.
Swing length is longer.
I believe that typically means like that is that like get the ball in play kind of because like
no, I think that's shorter. A rise is short swing, right?
I thought he's long. He's slow.
Yeah,
their speeds are slow. Okay,
because Judge is long.
Let's get someone into stats, maybe the queen of stats, in on it a little bit, and we'll wrap up with Katie Sharp, and it's brought to you by our Dan Patrick partnership. John Boy Media, iHeart Podcast. We've teamed up. 2 of your favorite John Boy Media shows can now be found over at the Dan Patrick Show. Wake and Jake and Jimmy's 3 Things have joined iHeart Podcast and the Dan Patrick Show family. Uncle Dan, I like to call him. He doesn't know that yet, but it's been a great partnership. They've showed us to their people, and hopefully we brought some new people to them. And Uncle Dan's a legend, so... thanks to them, and let's hear it from the Queen.
Hey guys, it's the Queen of Stats here, and this week we're going to talk about one of the few bright spots in Yankees bullpen, Jake Cousins. Now, before we get into the stats,
what's he doing?
we have to acknowledge that the sample is small. He's pitched only 25 innings and faced 103 batters, and most of those situations have been medium or low leverage. So according to Baseball Reference, he's only faced 9 batters in high leverage situations, but he's been excellent in those plate appearances, with 5 strikeouts, 1 walk, and no hits or runs allowed. So, does he deserve more of those high-leverage situations? Here's a few reasons why I think he might. First of all, he's one of the few pitchers in the league who has both a high strikeout rate and keeps runners off base. So there are 4 other pitchers that have a strikeout rate of at least 35%, a whip under 1, and have faced at least 100 batters this season. Those 4, Mason Miller, we know him, Josh Hader, pretty good, Kirby Yates, who's the Rangers closer, and Cade Smith, who is one of the Guardians' elite setup guys that we'll be seeing this week. And that 35% K rate is easily the highest on the Yankees, and his 0.94 whip is basically tied with Luke Weaver for the lowest on the Yankees. So if that's it, he's pretty good there. Now, not only does he strike out a lot of batters, but his contact rate is also just 64.7%, which is elite. It's the 10th lowest among the nearly 500 pitchers this season with at least 20 innings pitched. So he's not putting the ball in play either. Pretty good. And finally, he has an elite pitch, his slider, which, most importantly, he uses 2/3 of the time. And this slider is awesome. So among the more than 200 pitchers that have had at least 100 swings against their slider, Cousins has a whiff rate of 45%, is the 11th highest. And he's had 67 at-bats that have ended in a slider this season, and nearly half of those, 32, have resulted in a strikeout. And of the 35 balls that were put in play, those sliders, he's allowed just 9 hits, 3 homers, and 6 singles. So does he deserve more high-leverage opportunities? Well, if you like guys that pile up strikeouts, don't let batters on base, and have a high-usage elite pitch, Cousins could be the guy if he can handle the pressure. Talk to you guys next week.
All right. Why isn't Cousins...
Go on. Go off, King.
Obviously, before closer, why isn't he getting high leverage at all?
Right. I mean, he's getting closer, right? Like, he closed out that one game, the Canely bounce changeup game.
He's had 2 high leverage appearances. Both were, one, he came in the 7th when they were up 3, and another that he came in the 9th when they were up 3. The 9th was to replace Canely, and the 7th inning was, there was 1 on, 1 out in Boston.
Yeah, it looks like July 28th he got a hold.
When they were, I think they were really taxed. It was Rodon to Cousins to the Ferg. Yeah. Got it done. So, yeah, I'd shift that a little bit. Let's just see.
Yeah.
Get the high leverage up. I'm not saying make him the closer. I don't think anyone should be saying that.
Right.
Because there's other guys. Yeah. But he should be, he should have jumped Tonkin.
And I think he has. We haven't seen Tonkin in a week or so. Mark Leiter at this point shouldn't be there. I mean, I think at this point, the 4 in the pen are Clay, Canely, Weaver, Cousins. And I think Cousins is there now. I think it was just his turn to pitch in that losing Yankees game. But also now knowing that Mark Leiter pitched on Sunday on back-to-back days, I guess you'd like to have Cousins there? Yeah. Cousins threw 19 the day before. Maybe that was it, but...
In August, Cousins has appeared 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 times, and Tonkin has appeared 1, 2, 3, 4 times. So, but the appearances...
The bullpen's well rested, if that means anything to anyone.
Yeah. Yeah. That means a decent amount.
Well, hey, maybe, Jim, you were looking for the Clay Holmes insurance guy. Maybe that's a good role for Jake Cousins.
I think it is.
Have Weaver and Canely set up. When Clay gets into trouble, bring out the strikeout guy. Boom.
Yes, I do think that's the best way to use him right now. Pitches are good, man.
Man, it's going to be interesting if him, Weave Dog, and Canely cruise to the finish line. Because Clay's not a cruiser either way.
Yeah. Slider, 45% whiff rate.
Passes the eye test.
No doubles, no triples. 3 homers, though.
Yeah.
He dominates righties. Is that it? Better against righties?
You'd assume so. Fastball slide piece.
Righties, 43% whiff rate on the slider. Lefties, 51% whiff rate on the slider. Lefties, 118 batting average against the slider, 118 slug against the slider. Maybe he doesn't face a lot.
Good career numbers from Jake Cousins, too, by the way.
Righties, the slug's higher, so he's actually pretty good against lefties. Yeah. All right. This concludes the episode.
Oh.
Appreciate you guys tuning in. If you have not subscribed to the channel, please subscribe and let us know what our uniform should be for the playoffs.
Probably use them on a stream. Probably come.
I did think about that. That would be a little uncomfortable. I think you got to get dressed up for the episode. Makes it feel a little different.
You got to get undressed. It's tricky.
Yeah. Pre-game show needs uniforms for sure.
Maybe it's a pre and post.
Yeah, pre and post. It's jackets and tie.
Well, maybe the people suggest comfortable options.
Please do. Thank you very much. Go Yanks. Tell them, Grams.
Go Yankees.
The more comfortable, the more heavily considered.